It is
Don't touch that stuff, buddy.
the day after St. Patrick's Day. We
Yep,
are
St. Joseph's Day.
St. Joe. What
We are
is
Dad
that?
So Hard.
Oh,
You're an Italian. You should know that.
Not that
Day
Italian.
after St. Patrick's Day is St. Joseph's. St. Joseph's pastries.
No, I have
They're
no
delicious.
clue. I think the COVID-19 has screwed my head up, Danny. I have no clue what you're talking
You're
about.
an Italian from Long Island. You don't know what St. Joseph's Day is. Oh,
I've never heard of it. I have never heard of it. Ay.
Oh.
Okay, well,
yeah.
We're back, everybody.
Don't touch that.
Cue music. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Dad So Hard. And if you're listening to this across the world, this is the first episode. I know this is the first episode Danny and I have ever done in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. So
national emergency.
It's national emergency. There's a first for everything. There's a first for fathers working from home in mass scale. And we hope that you are doing well out there, and that the next 30 to 40 minutes can give you some tips and tricks on how to survive.
How to survive
in a COVID-19 world.
Or at least how not to kill each other.
How to stay married and keep your kids alive. I am Vinnie Dunleavy.
Danny McCartney.
And we are Dad So
Hard.
We're two friends, two guys, two dads, two working gents that are figuring out life and fatherhood, sharing our stories along the way. Danny, first of all, we have to do a big shout out to all of our friends and fans out there who have kept this podcast alive for 2 years. And we are committed to not having it die. The COVID-19 cannot stop the digital recordings. Danny and I are actually not. We are practicing our social distancing. We are approximately 20 miles.
I almost like to say that we started social distancing. We started doing this via Skype.
Correct. We
actually said it's not sanitary. It's not safe to record this next to each other anymore. We're going to social distance. Fast forward 6 months. It's a mandate to social distance. So we were well ahead of the curve.
We are leaders.
Social distancing.
we are leaders, and we didn't even know it. I do have to do a shout out. We use, for anybody who's wondering how we do this podcast, and if you haven't watched us on YouTube, one of the hottest stocks.
Oh my God.
One of only
Zoom.
2 stocks that are going up right now.
Zoom is zooming.
Zoom. So if you
it's so funny.
Do it.
Because sorry, when we started using Zoom, I was like, "What the fuck is that?" I only knew WebEx. Well, let me tell you, WebEx stinks, and Zoom is amazing. You hear nothing but great things about it. It's phenomenal. This episode is actually sponsored by Zoom, so thank you guys.
We love it.
If
you thought about starting your own podcast, I tell people all the time, if you want to do your own podcast, Zoom.us. Go start an account. It's for most part it is free because we are so successful. We actually pay for an account, but it's very small. Well, Danny doesn't know this. Yes, I started paying because when you do like multiple,
because we were going over the time.
There's certain I didn't want to get cut off.
Well, I pay for some things. I
know we invest in this. Okay. There's real cash.
Give and take. Yeah,
it's real cash. But I do. I love it. We're actually we had some WebEx breakdowns today at work, so we may be going to a Zoom universe.
I actually had to cancel a meeting, and then another meeting was just like, it's like, come on, like we can't do this. Like,
no.
Another thing I will say, not to go against Zoom, Microsoft Teams is very good.
First of all, different. I think a very different product.
Big fan of it. Different product.
But I agree with you. Another stock that it's not hot because they have a lot of other products that aren't doing well. But I agree with you. Yeah. Never used Microsoft Teams before Friday morning. Bing, bang, boom. I'm into it. So and that leads us, Danny, into the world that we're living in with a lot of people who are listening. So Danny and I have day jobs, or we commute into the city in an office. We're working stiffs. We're like, there's Working Girl with Melanie Griffin. We're the working guys. Let the river run. If you remember that movie. Who sang that song? Who sang that song?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You know, Melanie Griffin in the early 80s, Working Girl. She had the big hair, and she's like, and the song was like, I think it was from not Claire Danes. There's another famous singer. And somebody's gonna write in and tell me, but they sing "Let the River Run, Let All Your Dreams," and she's a Staten Island working girl going to Manhattan to work on the financial district.
Not familiar with it.
Anyway, we're now working from our houses.
Yeah, so I mean, a couple things. I will kick it off, and which will then lead me with a couple questions for you, because we actually both represent the different spectrums, right? Like I am a city worker, or not city worker, but like I work in the city. I know, advertising, media sales, but my wife is a teacher. So anyone that's a teacher is, for the most part, home. So we actually benefit with having one parent who can like go all in with the kids.
Yep.
Because like I was saying like earlier before we started recording, it's been pretty crazy with work for me for the last 3 days at least. So it's almost been like I'm not even here. Like I might as well be in Manhattan.
Yep.
Right, from like 9 to 7. Because I've been working. Like, yeah, I'll like run upstairs and see them every now and then, give kisses and stuff like that. But outside of that, I've been pretty much working. And so like thankfully, and we have younger kids, so like I feel like those are the kids that are tougher to occupy, because obviously you want them to keep learning and stuff like that. You don't want them to fall behind. Whereas like I was actually thinking today, I feel like the 9 or 10 is probably the perfect age to be home quarantined, because you can let them do their own thing. They're not really going to fall behind learning. Like they've learned enough to survive at that point, right?
No, I agree.
Where like
pandemic,
2 months off school isn't really going to hurt them.
Educationally,
you're loving life quarantining, because they're like, go play video games, go do your own thing, occupy yourself, don't complain to me.
Well, they also can follow rules. They can understand what
exactly. Yeah. And then and it's funny because I feel like you hit that like age of like a 16-year-old and above, and they're probably just begging to leave. You probably have to like chain them to the door to make sure they don't leave the house. But anyway, so back to my thing, like, we're lucky enough almost that like I can focus as best I can on work and like get stuff done. But both of you guys took your work home.
So my wife also works in the city as a worker.
And you guys are probably doing like a full blown like 9 to 5, 9 to 6 of work.
Yeah. So I have to say,
figure out what to do with your kids.
I feel, and I think about this all the time. I feel very fortunate to have a job, number one, in this economy, and to work for the company I work for. I have to say I feel blessed, and the last week has been amazing how quickly we were able to adjust to this work from home. And I think it's been hard for a lot of people out there in all different jobs. But I have to come from a place of, knock on wood, very lucky. My wife also very fortunate to work from home. The difference in our jobs, she is an attorney. So her workload, and I work in Danny, and I work in sales, although my job is more long-term sales. So her workload actually, and I find this has been coming up with a lot of my friends who are working from home, nothing has seemingly slowed down. And I think because you're working from home, you instantly have a desire to want to prove that you're doing more work. So almost like when you're working even more. So my wife has turned into you. I have not seen her from the hours of 9 to 6. I actually have to go up there and be like, can you tell me what time you're like leaving work today and going to come rejoin us in the universe of our house? I am doing a lot of work, but like my job is such where on conference calls, like I could be on a call and my kids are coming in and I'm like, yo, like join it or get out. And I'm sort of in between things. I'm probably running in and out. We also though have an au pair. So because we have a live-in nanny,
interesting twist. So she's locked down with you guys.
She is. Oh, so yeah. So we have
she probably wants to fucking kill herself.
Well, she was. Listen, the drama that took place in our house this week was we were supposed to not even be here. We were supposed to be in Florida this week. Our au pair was. We were supposed to. We were supposed to go to Florida.
Is it April yet? No, it's still March. No, we were going. We were supposed to go to Florida in April.
Yeah, that's
not happening.
Our au pair was going to go on vacation. She gets 1 week a year that she can pick when she wants to go. So she had picked.
Well, lucky her.
Yeah, well, because other times she goes when we tell her. She was to go on vacation, so we said yes, and then we booked our vacation around her vacation, and then her vacation kept getting canceled, and then she wasn't going anywhere. And then we were going to go on our vacation. And then literally we were supposed to leave Tuesday morning. And I didn't want to make a decision until Monday. And then everybody was like, you can't go. And nobody's going to tell me what to do. I make my own decisions, Danny. So I told everybody I'm going to go. Personally, the first 2 days I did that, it was more out of like, don't tell me what to do. And then I sat back and I said, it's irresponsible of me to go to Florida. And I don't know if I'm going to make it back in time. So we're going to stay. So we ended up canceling, and now we're all here.
Well, that's what we were like. We were talking about today and yesterday. Because we obviously we go to LBI and we're like, do we go to LBI?
Oh, why not?
It's a little secluded, get a little fresh air, but we don't know what the hell's gonna happen. Like tomorrow, like let's say we go tomorrow morning. Tomorrow at 3, they could say we're on a lockdown, and that means we're shutting off the highways. No one's going in or out. And I don't know if they give a warning or not. Like we've never been through this. This is uncharted waters for everyone. So then what if we're stuck out there? Then what the hell do we do, right? I don't want to deal with that.
No, I've thought about that.
We're going to play it
from home. You can make any place.
We're going to go day by day.
My issue is, and I got friends who are like, let's drive down to Key West. And I was like, yo, what if you can't get food? At least I know here. I know my grocery store.
Exactly.
Like, that is the thing. So I actually feel like we've been doing well. But it has been good. But so we're in an opposite. I'm sort of in and out with the kids. The au pair's there. We're trying to keep a schedule. Our school district's going to start doing schoolwork tomorrow. Our kids are sort of. What?
No, I was gonna say for us Monday. So because preschool, I believe it's not mandated that they have to send stuff home, but Brady's school, I think starting Monday is gonna send home like lesson plans, just for like things to like keep on top of.
You just want to keep them doing something. They're doing a lot of Google Classroom starting tomorrow.
Brady's doing he does karate, and he's been doing virtual karate, right? Every day they do like a WebEx, or a Skype session or something like that for like a half hour. So that's been pretty cool.
This is going to accelerate. Emily, my daughter today had a virtual soccer class. Her entire soccer team.
Come on.
The coach, outside the backyard on her iPad. The coach used Zoom. He had a Zoom meeting where him and his son video live feeded themselves in their house in front of a screen, and they did drills. The girls outside followed along, and they all had their things muted. And she had a virtual 45-minute soccer class outside. This, I am telling you, is changing the way technology. This is going to accelerate kids, adults, executives we work for. We work for people who are older, who now are. I mean, this is a great equalizer.
They're seeing that work can get done, and you don't have to be in my eyesight 24/7.
And everybody is being forced to become techno savvy because you have nobody to help you.
And I told this to my team, and I was like, get your shit done, because this next month or however long this is going to make or break if, as a whole, as a corporation, we can be trusted to do work on our own.
100% agree.
If we fail, guess what? The leash gets tightened.
Oh, yeah. I think what's important about that too is not only do we want to do that, but I think, and I think about this for dads, is that it's about a lot. So far, I feel like a lot of it's like, oh, the kids are out of school. How are the working moms handling all this thing? And I'm like, listen, I'm in a situation where I actually have to be the one to have more flexibility because my wife's job, due to her workload, can't. And I think every parent, including fathers, have to start a dialogue about what we're all going through, while at the same time, I'm sensitive to the fact that if I have coworkers who do not have kids, you also want to respect them to be like, it's not like this is harder or easier, because
and it's not that you should dump everything on them, right? Because it's not like, well, I have kids, I'm more important.
Correct. I have a cough. This is not COVID-19, everybody. I had a bad sinus infection.
But I think you actually brought up a good point, where it's like with the both working parents, you almost have to take a step back and like take a hard look at each other's job to be like, okay, now I can get a line of sight into your day-to-day. You can get a line of sight into my day-to-day. We got to figure out together, like, who needs to be on what meeting more, almost, right?
Well, it's actually funny. And when you said line of sight, I did realize, like, today was the first day when I saw my wife, like, doing her job. number one, I was like, I would never want to do that job. I was like, that's terrible. That's a lot of reading and a lot of writing. That's not this guy. But you do have a different respect for them when you see what they're doing and how they do. Like she sees me on my job. Like she watched me on a conference call and she listened to it. She was writing. She listened for 45 minutes and I got off. I was like, what'd you think of that conference call? She was like, that was terrible. So like we both have a mutual where you're gaining a respect as two working parents to actually see what each other does for good or bad, which is really interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. So I have to say, though, when it gets into tips, over the weekend, there were two big things I did over the weekend, Danny, which I'm very proud of.
I saw. Yeah.
Number one, I channeled my inner HGTV DIY, like Bob the Builder, and I built
that doghouse.
This doghouse is killer.
Oh, I was gonna say it looked like a retarded child put it together.
No, what are you talking about?
But congratulations.
You got to tweet it. I'm going to send you. You got to tweet. So, but the doghouse. Though, why the doghouse is impressive is the doghouse was not even planned to be built. The doghouse was like a extra material lot laying around, all reclaimed. What am I going to do?
I really did like the art table though. That was a great idea.
So I had a pallet. Remember, months ago I got a toilet delivered on a pallet. And I didn't know, I saved the pallet because I was like, I'm going to do some of this one day.
What if? Yeah.
So I had the pallet. And then I also recently, when we did construction, I had a lot of extra moldings left over. So my brain went to, well, I have some lumber in the backyard that I use for firewood. I'm going to take the firewood, make it 4 corners, put the pallet on top as a table. And then I thought, oh, how would it be cool if all the moldings laid across it to actually become like the tabletop?
Yeah.
I did not have enough molding, though. So early Saturday morning after I built the table, I realized I can't cover it in molding. So then I used the molding as an edge. And then I said, what do I do to fill the edge? I said, well, I remembered last year I went to Home Depot with my father. And I saw a man. Now, most guys who go to Home Depot, I'm not a Home Depot guy. But I remembered I saw a man who bought a giant piece of plywood. And most guys listening to this may be like, Vinnie, you're a moron, but this is what I learned. They will cut the plywood to specific sizes for you at Home Depot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had no clue. This was like, it was earth shattering to me. So I bought a giant piece of plywood for $40, very affordable, outdoor. It was treated. And I had him cut it to the main size of the square I needed. I measured the square of the table.
Yeah.
So then the guy goes, well, what are you gonna do with the rest of the plywood? I go, well, can I leave it here? He goes, no, you bought the whole thing. So I was like, shit. And so I was like, well, can you cut it up? Because I have a small car. I got to get it all to fit in the car. So I randomly cut it into four squares just to fit into the car. We got home and we built the table. The kids painted it, finished it off. And then my daughter, Emily, was like, well, why don't you use the rest to build a doghouse? And a challenge.
Worked perfectly.
She threw
here's the question. Down. Here's the question. Does the dog use it?
Oh, so the first couple of days, no. Yesterday, we put him outside, and we caught him in it.
You leave him out there long enough, he'll use it.
For about 5, it was about 10 seconds. It's not intended to be our dog is an indoor dog.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's going to be, we're not leaving him outside. But it's cute. It's cute. It's big. And I love it. Now, so I was very proud of the construction. I didn't tell you about this thing I did, Danny. Now, this is going to be I think this game, I created a playground game that is going to take over across this country, everybody. This is because I've been focusing on educating my kids about this virus while at the same time having fun. So I went to the park. We live by the school. So I brought my kids there, and there were 3 or 4 other kids that they know from school that roll in the park. So this game is not good for social distancing because it is a version of freeze tag. However, I believe it's not
social distancing.
That's not social because it's freeze tag. You have to tag somebody. However, in a micro community of kids that see each other on a daily basis, you're still we're still isolating ourselves because it's the same 5 kids we see every day. So I called the name of the game COVID-19 tag. I started out as the person doing the tagging. So I said the person
Yeah.
doing the tagging is the federal government and the CDC. And the federal government and the CDC has to shut down the virus. And everybody running is a piece of virus. So the game is if the person tagging everybody, as soon as you tag somebody who's the virus, they freeze. So the goal is, if you're the federal government and the CDC, your goal is to freeze everybody in the game.
Everyone.
Because if everybody's frozen, the virus dies. But if you don't, the way to unfreeze another virus can run up and tag the frozen virus, and now they're unfrozen, right?
Yep.
Because then the virus just continues to multiply and go around. So the kids were learning how the virus worked, and then essentially the game could go on because it literally is like, guys, the federal government and the CDC have to shut this down. Here we go. And so we played it, and it was actually a lot of fun. And they were like, let's play COVID-19. So
I love that you had them calling it that.
That's what we called the COVID-19 tag. And they understood it, and they said the only way to kill the virus is every part of it has to be frozen. They all have to stop moving.
We
heard it here first, Americans. COVID-19.
We've been doing some stuff around the house, little reorganizing, home decorating. We took our playroom upstairs, made it in the basement. Now the basement is a playroom.
Oh, nice.
So we got a little, so now it's like, I don't know if you can really tell, but
Danny, your basement's my basement is similarly my basement is a playroom. Anybody, if you want to follow this on YouTube, you can see our basements. They're playrooms.
Now,
and basically
we're making
size.
So now we're making what was the playroom, we're making it like an art room.
Nice.
So we ordered like this table. I think it's a Melissa and Doug table. That is like it has like a paper thing on one end, so you just keep pulling the paper.
We have one of those. Yeah, like you pull the paper, and then they draw on it, and then you cut the paper.
Yeah.
Buy a couple extra paper rolls because you run out of that like a maniac.
Quick. Yeah.
Did you buy the circular table that has like little dots on it or something? Oh,
no, it's a square.
They're good. They're good. Shout out to Melissa and Doug.
Yeah.
Great wooden toys.
My next project is going to be figuring out a way to get all the feral cats away from our yard, because I don't know if I told. I think I shared this like last
breaking news.
No, well, last summer we like we have like a little like play set in the back with like swings and slides and climbing stuff like that. We put it in one corner. It was like when we got the pool, like we did that in one corner, and then I did rubber mulch all around it to make like a playground. Well, these fucking cats treat this rubber mulch as if it's a giant kitty litter.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
so, and I mean, this probably wasn't the best look for me, but like this morning I stepped in it. I was really, really pissed off, and I yell like basically to the whole neighborhood because I was outside, and I yell into Mary Jane, and I go, Mary Jane, we got to figure out how to fucking kill these cats. So now I'm probably flagged as a serial killer in my neighborhood.
Well, killing cats. Well, if you were a kid, if you kill a cat, it's the first sign of a serial killer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
can't you just put cat poison?
There's humane ways. So Mary Jane sent me a whole link that has like all these like humane ways to deter them. I just have to figure out how to try some of these.
Why do you need to be humane?
The best is it was like one of them was like spray them with a hose.
But why do you have to be humane?
I know.
You live at Staten Island. I don't think Staten Island is known for the humane treatment.
Well, how about this? One of them was spray them with a hose. They're doing this at like 3 a.m. Like, am I just supposed to sit outside 24/7?
Keep your sprinklers on. Just put a sprinkler on there. First of all you're gonna do is chase them into your neighbor's yards. I
don't give a shit.
Then they're gonna chase them back. But then your neighbor's gonna chase them back, or you want one of your other neighbors to kill them.
Well, my initial response was, we need to get rat poison. That's probably aggressive.
Well, couldn't you do like what they do at rat possum cages and get cages? And then
that's what I wanted.
And you drive to New Jersey and you drop them off.
I just have to figure out where to get these cages from. Because I'll just get cages and I'll just drop them off miles away so they can never find their way back.
Well, no, you would bring them to Brooklyn or New Jersey.
Yeah, miles away. I'll drop them off at the beach. Let them figure it out.
They're going to smell their way back to your house. And then
You
they're going to come
think?
back with like a crew.
How far do you think I would have to leave it?
I think you
Away?
have to. I think you need to go over a body of water. You need to get off Staten Island.
Yeah.
Correct. I don't. You cannot stay. They
I
will
don't
come
want these
back
things
with
in
a
my fucking
vengeance.
car.
They're like
Yeah.
ants and animals. These things smell. They peed there. They're
Yeah.
gonna smell their pee from miles away. If anybody
Yeah,
knows
you're
how to
right.
do this, either humane or not humane, if any, send us some tips for Danny. This is
The other
definitely.
thing I've been doing, learning the ukulele.
Are you kidding me?
No, dead serious.
In your free time, you said you're so busy at work.
Yeah, it's not a lot of free time. My free time has been like at 10 o'clock at night.
All right. Well, I say, and if anybody's noticed, Danny is also in his free time tweeting up a storm on our Twitter handle.
Yeah.
What is that Twitter handle?
I'm getting
People
good
have
on
not,
Twitter.
Danny, if people have not seen these tweets, where can they read them?
Twitter is at Dad So Hard Pod.
That's right.
Instagram and Facebook is a little easier at Dad So Hard Podcast. Email dadsohardpodcast@gmail.com. Website wearedadsohard.com. And am I missing something?
Your cell phone. Danny's phone number is 917.
Nope.
You reach me at 646.
Nope.
Actually tonight, in terms of multimedia content we're pushing out, a few weeks ago when we talked about, I went to the Washington D.C. Dad2 Summit. The panel I was on is now on YouTube thanks to Mark Savant at Actadad. This guy's a great dad blog. He's actually has a dad podcast, blog, all dad life kind of stuff, but does a lot more interviews than me and Danny. But he also started, for anybody who's an entrepreneur out there, he also started a lifestyle podcast and YouTube network called the Actadad Lifestyle, I think it's called. We'll tag him on here, but if you listen to him, great tips. He's actually going to be putting out more content on how to start your own podcast, podcasting tips. I know people call me and Danny all the time and want to know, how could we be as successful as you two? You guys are blowing up the internet. You're a top 10 dad podcast. You're incredibly good looking. How do we do this? You have great haircuts, great beards, and we give the advice out for free. And we want other friends of ours are doing it as well. So check this. We're going to post a link for you to watch.
That's going to be also fun to see. Like in a month of being home, what the hell we look like.
Oh, I told my daughter tonight, I said, Emily, I'm officially growing a COVID-19 beard. And she looked at me and said, no. And I said, don't worry about it. It's not going to be that long.
The only reason I might not grow a beard is just because I already feel filthy. That like a beard is just going to make me feel filthy.
I am, I feel filthy because I've been eating nonstop, but I also 2 days ago decided, it was Monday morning, I got off, I was finishing antibiotic because not that I have COVID-19, although all my coworkers thought I did, but I didn't have a fever. I had a sinus infection, a very, very bad sinus infection, but I got over it and I'm feeling great and my lungs are ginormous. So I started running 3 days ago because
Nice.
I do not want to put on the COVID-19 pounds. And the amount of food I'm ingesting is, I didn't realize how much, like when you're home all day, it's not like, but you just walk into the kitchen and it's like food. It's like, I'll just keep putting it in my mouth.
I started going in, I started getting into my head, like, I have to eat everything that's going to expire now. I had 2 bowls of Fruity Pebbles last night. I just had an ice cream sundae before because I was like, oh, I don't know how long this is going to last. I better eat it now.
Well, it's like, how often are you home to have good meals? So some party is like, I don't eat this all the time. But then I'm like, listen, guys, this could be 2 months. The word on the streets are talking in Port Washington and across this country, and we are hearing rumors school is out till summer. And like, if that's I don't know how I'm going to be able to go back to work if my kids are in this house full time for 2 more months.
I think day one back at work is going to be at the earliest April 20th.
Oh, I am going to see your April 20th and raise you June 1st.
You think?
Oh, because it is not peaking for 45 days in New York State, which means the bell curve They need to see the curve flatten. The curve hasn't even. The curve is just starting. So we can't go back to work until the curve is flattened and cases are going down. Cases can't go down.
God.
Cases can't go down until they've gone up. And we haven't hit the top. So they're saying 45 days it's going to peak, which is probably the end of April, middle of May. And then if it goes down, I'm hoping I want my kids in camp, be back to work June 1st. I would put money on that. If somebody out there wants to start a pool for when all us work from home dads are going to be getting back.
You know what?
Place.
That's a pretty good pool that we should start going. Like, especially since you can't gamble on sports.
Oh, we probably do a predicted pool.
Yeah.
You ever use predicted.com?
No.
So predicted.com, it's a shout out to their site. Barstools always talks about them because they do a lot of political betting, but you bet on real life events. So you can bet on like how many tweets is Trump going to put out. Maybe we'll do a tweet on. Boy, I like the music.
You hear
Let's do a predicted pool on when we'll all go back to work in person.
I know 3 chords.
That was good.
I know 4 chords. I know C. I know the G. I know A minor. And I think this is F. That's all I know.
Is that your son's ukulele?
No, this is mine.
You actually own
this is theirs. Yeah.
I mean, you're a very complex Disney dad.
There's my case.
Did you get that from Disney, like the Lana Kalani Luau?
Nope.
It reminds me of the Brady Bunch when they went to Hawaii.
It's tuned.
It's nice. That's exactly the music that played when Peter Brady was surfing, or it was Greg was surfing, and then the
you have a lot of Brady Bunch references.
Listen, it was my childhood. And I would imagine some of the people listening have no clue what I'm talking about. But what have you been? So before we sign off, Danny, what have you been watching in the last few days that you could give any tips or recommendations to as what has been making you filling your dad tank? I don't even know if that's a word.
You're talking about like
just what are you
media?
watching? Yeah, what do you think is good?
So I will tell you that is the sad thing. Like, I haven't watched anything. Not one thing.
That's not good.
TV doesn't even go on.
Listen, shout out
Like
to your
that.
employer
I'm telling you,
making you work.
And it's not by my
what about
own
Saturday
choice.
and Sunday? No,
like,
so I agree.
so that's
during
I
the
will
week,
say
it's hard to. I'm watching like I have CNBC on and on the background.
Sunday was the only day I watched, and that was because it was either Saturday or Sunday, I forget. But one of the days, there was a birthday party. Mary Jane had taken the kids to.
Whoa, that's that. You had a birthday party this past weekend. That's a high risk birthday party not to cancel.
I agree,
Living
but it was
on the
only
edge.
like close. It was close friends and family, so it wasn't a lot of people.
It doesn't matter. You don't know where they are.
I agree.
High risk.
But that was also before things got really crazy. That was like when things were still like a recommendation. Like schools were still open at that point.
Correct.
So,
can you imagine if one of us isn't on this podcast in 3 months? Because this is like some weird, like at the end of Avengers Endgame where there's a snap and one of us just disappears. COVID-19 snap, and we're just like, fuck, one of us is dead. That'd be terrible. It'd be terrible. I would still do this, Danny. If you were gone, I would still do this with you.
I'm getting internet connection is unstable, just so you know. But yeah, no, it's like in.
Did you hear what I said though?
Top Gun.
Did you hear what I said? I said if you were gone,
yes, I heard. Yes,
you didn't react.
And I was literally just saying it's like in Top Gun when Meg Ryan says, Goose would have he loved flying. He would have he would have flown without you. He'd have hated it, but he'd have done it anyway.
Oh, that's true. That it would never be the same, ever.
No, it would never be the same.
The
if I had to do it,
2 coming out this summer.
Yeah, I can't wait. Well, who knows? It's probably gonna get postponed.
Mm.
I also over this past week, everyone at work was telling me that I say that word Postponed. I pronounce it incorrectly. I say postponed,
Wait,
and apparently you're supposed to say postponed. I
so
say postponed.
you say postponed?
Postponed.
No, you say post.
I understand how to say it. I say postponed.
You say post like with a T pwned, as opposed to
I
postponed.
say I say postponed.
Pittsponed. Why do you say pit? Where do you
I don't know. That's how I pronounce it. And I've never said that word more than I've ever said it in this past week because of all the like
things being
live sports
postponed?
that exactly.
That's
So,
a step. I don't know if I say.
yeah,
Well, you know what word always got confused on when you say we're gonna flush that idea.
it's flesh it out.
I know, but I think we're gonna. I always say let's flush it out, and
It
then
drives me
I say
crazy when
flush. I
people
say
say flush. You work with someone that says flush it all the time and it drives me crazy.
FLUSH, and I
Not
was
you, it's
it's
someone
E.
someone else that you work with.
Oh no, I
What?
know, but I used to do it, and somebody's like it's E, it's FLESH, and I was like, really, it's flush.
It was probably me that told you that
I believe it
because it
was
drives me
you.
crazy.
Well, Danny,
But I try not to correct people with stuff like that unless I'm like close with them. So it was probably me that corrected you.
Well, I have to say, everybody who works with me, I'm always open for corrections. And Danny, you have been many of the recipient of my world famous haiku emails. None of them make
Yeah.
sense. They're just
Well,
stream of
I've
consciousness.
sat with you while you've written some of them.
Well, so my wife the other day realized when we sat in bed together doing our work, that was our. I actually switch up every room I'm in every day for my office place. But my
Okay.
wife was like, I've never. She goes, how does anybody work with you? You're so loud and you
Tough.
talk all the time when you type. And I was
Yep.
like, what?
It's
And
tough.
I don't hear it, but I do talk for me. I actually speak out loud when I'm typing.
I know.
Danny knows. I don't realize I do it.
Oh
I
my
have no
God.
conscious right. I
I
can't hear
always say, I
myself.
might have actually said it on this podcast. The worst part is talk your um you talk your corrections. So let's say you were writing, my name is Vinnie Dunleavy and I host Dad So Hard. You would be like, and let's say the word you were screwing up on is Dunleavy. My name is Vinnie Dun. My name is Vinnie Dun. My name is Vinnie Dun 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 Dunleavy. It's like, what is happening? Just because you keep deleting it and rewriting it,
Yeah, I
you
do. I
say
do
it every
exactly
single
like
time.
I go back and like, wait, do this. And well, it's my trick though. So I actually told somebody today it is my trick towards doing great presentations. I'm going to give a little presentation skills. When I like to build a presentation, they say the best way to edit the words on the slide or to think about what are you going to be saying when you're standing in front of the slide and what is
Yeah.
that, what does your script sound like so that you can figure out how to edit what's on the slide so it can support what you're saying. So therefore as I'm doing PowerPoint, I'm talking out loud like, okay, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that, and then it allows me to edit the text, and then I have to come up with better words, and then I'm
Vinny,
a
if you
psychopath.
don't stop talking right now, I will kill you. This
I'm
episode is over.
I've lost my mind. So listen, we are going to be back if Danny and I both survive COVID-19, which I believe we will for the next few months. Well, I don't know if we'll survive. I don't think it's going to be COVID-19. It will be quarantine or my wife that will kill me. It is quite
Yeah.
possible that when spouses,
Maybe even your kids.
well, Danny, when do you think the first documented case of a COVID-19 spouse killing another spouse will occur? I think we're probably a week away.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think it's 2 full weeks
It's quite
of
possible.
quarantine. 2 full weeks. Yeah.
I'm not suggesting anybody should do it, by the way, who's listening. I think we all have to have patience with each other and hug and
Yeah.
kiss and love the people you're with. But please
Yeah.
don't throw any kids in the streets. They're
But
just
also wash your
kids.
hands.
Wash your hands. And even if you
Um,
and keep your hands to yourselves. Don't go outside and take a break if you're stressed out from your family. Just don't touch anybody outside.
agreed. Now let's wrap this up.
Can you? Why don't you play us a song as we go to go to break.
I don't know a song yet. I can just do chords. So
Can you
next time
do
though,
chords?
hopefully
Do
by next
chords.
week.
It's still a
No,
nice
I
way to
wanna-
end. Still a nice way to end. Do some chords. We
just
are
give you a
dead.
little
So nice soothing way to end.
That's all I got.
Nice, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Good luck. Good luck this week.